Hello, so in this video I am going to be showing you how I made one of these little 3D sort of pop-up scenes, a bit like the peephole book from the Jolly Christmas Postman. This was the first iteration I did from Folktale Week, but I've made some improvements to the fold design on this one, and as you can see it's sitting a lot squarer, which is nice. So this looked a lot better. So I'm going to be sharing with you how we make one of these little 3D scenes. You're going to start out by making all your little panels. I recommend between 6 to 8, but you can do as many as you like. Here I'm using some A6 cartridge paper and a craft knife and some mixed media to do my designs. I'm just going to stick a bit of background music on while I finish these off. Okay, so I've got my finished scene here, and with the various levels. So the first thing I'm going to do is just count how many levels we've got. So I have got top section, which is just drying, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 layers. So we're going to need 8 fold sections to go in the middle. So the first thing we need to do is cut out the sections. Now, I don't want to use paper that's as thick as this cartridge paper because it'll be really stiff to fold, but I also don't want to use anything as flimsy as copier paper, so I'm actually just going to use a page out of my art creation sketchbook. Hopefully that'll be all right. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to make sure we get the height of the paper right. Now, how many of these can I get on? I think what I'm going to do is just go for it's the height we want, isn't it? So just going to measure that, and hopefully we'll get to not quite going to get two out of this. Okay, so I'm going to make sure we've got the height right. And I'm going to use, I should be doing this the other way around, but use a craft knife to and then so I'm sort of making this up on the fly a little bit. We've got some sections that are the same height, but they're slightly wider. So there's two ways that you can do this. The first way is to fold two pieces in half. And this is how traditional peep show books are made. And we want to have a little fold, not a really big fold, on here. It's not a very straight fold. Fold here. Little fold. So not very straightforward. A little fold on here. Now, so traditionally, from the small amount of research I've done, peep show books were made so that the sections basically meet in the middle. These don't quite, but nearly. So they would be stuck like that. And then when you pull them out, you've got a very, very long, hopefully this works with the camera, it's hard to tell. You've got a very, very deep seam. Wish I could see this and that my camera holder wasn't in the way. So that's one way to do it. So it all depends how deep you want your seam to be. Now my folktale wheat one here, actually I did very small folds so that they were only about as wide as my edging, so that you could get a bit of a sense of 3D, but it wasn't so big. So I think I'm going to do something similar to this for this one as well. So I'm going to be going lots smaller than this. So I think what I'm going to do is cut each of these in half. That is. I think we can possibly go in half again. Let's have a go. So, I fold this in half, and then we have a very small, not very straight edge. This is less than perfect, isn't it? Here's another fold. I think so. My edges are quite narrow. Sorry, you can tell I'm winging this a bit. Right. I'm going to go slightly smaller than that. So, I'm going to make a fold. And then I'm going to make a small fold back. Because as you can see, my edges are very narrow and I don't want huge bits of this poking out of it. So, I'm going to go for some very narrow fiddly folds. Okay, so we've got a little one-piece concertina there. And that's what I want to do with this one. I want to just straighten out these and make these folds slightly smaller. Okay, so I've got two little concertinas here. As you can see, these bits are the bits that will stick onto the paper, and then the bit in the middle is the bit that forms the concertina. So we've got two of those, and you're going to need two of these per layer. So I'm going to need 16 of these in total. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Right. In true Blue Peter style, I now have 16 little concertina pieces that I made earlier and all my pages. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the back. I just think it's easier. I've also got some just standard PVA glue, but you could use a glue stick, you could use whatever glue you fancy. Right, so I'm going to start from the back, so I'm going to flip this lovely little scene over and pop it over here. We're going to get the backing page. So what you need to do is, I'll do that one because it's ripped to come on the back, is you're going to be gluing along this edge and sticking that down onto there. And you're going to do the same on the opposite side. So you're going to be gluing down the back and gluing it onto the back of the image. So I'll just quickly do that. Anyone more do? Okay, so I'm going to pop that down into there, make sure you get it right into the crease, glue it down, and the same on this side, pop that right into the crease and glue it down. So, first one done, easy peasy. Yeah, right. So now, next one, we've got one of these little ones. So We need to do this in the right order. So what we will be doing is gluing it onto this little tab here, but we need to put the next layer on first. So move that to the side for a minute. We're going to get 2 more of our little concertinas, and before we attach this to this, we first want to attach the next concertina layer. So for this, we're obviously only gluing the back of the bottom section. We don't need to be gluing all the way up. So just a bit of glue on the back of there. Pop that into there. And pop that into there, making sure you line up the bottom with the bottom of that. Okay, so now that that's attached, what we're going to be doing is attaching this flush with the bottom of it. I'm not listening to my own instructions. We're going to, this is the front, this is the back. We're going to be attaching that whole strip to this strip on the top here. So I'm actually going to do it from here. I'll glue this one. So make sure you do use enough glue that it sticks, but obviously you don't want so much that it's going to be bleeding out and squishing onto everything. Okay, if we do both sides, yes, right. Okay, so there's the front. So I'm going to be lining. Oh God, this is going to be fiddly. This is not how I did my original book. Right, so line that with that. We're going to have to do a bit of a press. And if you can see now, it's quite hard to tell, but you've sort of got this extra flat bit, which are the 2 sections glued together with that stuck on the front. Now the reason we want it stuck on the front is because you want to be able to see as much of the detail of this as possible. But you could sandwich it in between if you preferred. Okay, so there we have our first 2 layers. Brilliant. Okay, so next layer. Going for these little guys in their van now. So again, we're going to be putting the front 2 on. So I think I will probably stop and speed this next bit up, and I'll come back to you when we get to the end. Okay, so it's nearly finished. We've got pretty much all the layers in there. It's looking like this. It's a good idea just to give it a quick look over and make sure you've not PVA glued any bits together. That looks okay to me. Right, so we're ready just to add a final frame onto the image. You can, of course, or if you've gone for longer, you can make this much smaller and like a little peephole to be like a proper peep show book. But in the interest of Instagram and social media, I'm just doing a little frame around it so that I can show it. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue this final piece on so it's just as straightforward as a little bit of glue on this last fold, a little bit of glue on this last fold, and pop it on. It's too unwieldy because I've popped it all up. Let's pop that on like that. Give it a good push down. Let's do the same on this side. Seal up my folds, not ideal. Yeah. Right. And there you go. So I don't want to pull about with this too much, because we've just glued it all together. And I don't want to pull it all apart. But just give it a little tweak. There you have it. Beautiful little 3D scene. My recommendation now would be to squeeze it down, and if you've got them, pop a couple of bulldog clips or something on them just to help it while that glue sets, and leave it to dry. But yeah, I hope you give this a go, and please do share it with me if you do. My Instagram is Pink Fox Illustration, and yeah, please leave a comment if you give it a go. Let me know how you got on. Thank you very much for watching.